Albert here from Heroic Self Coaching. Welcome to part 2 of how you can make your first jump and build some confidence in the process. So this video here is going to be for you if the idea of doing a jump at all on flat ground is a bit imposing, whether due to physical limitations if you've not been active for a good while, or whether there's anything psychological going in your head at the idea of doing a jump. If, however, you're okay with the idea of doing jumps, part 1 might be more appropriate for you, and I'll put a link in for you to get onto that video instead. And if you want any more help with this process, once you've been through it, go to the description, click on the link there, you'll be able to book a call and we can go through this process one-to-one and sort out any limitations you might have. So the first thing we need to do is just make a area for you to do this little activity on. Chalk is going to be really helpful for this, but if you don't have any chalk, some objects that are probably say 1 foot to 2 foot in diameter would be good, or a nice tiled area. You just want some things you can use as a target. So I'm going to start here, I'm going to do a circle around my feet, and I'm going to do it bigger than my feet, so about a 2 foot radius. There. From there, what you're going to do is you're going to take a big stride for you. Take that stride, you're going to draw the edge of your next circle, and again draw another big circle and that sort of radius, and from there take another stride, going back in a diagonal, but you want it so the first and third circles are going to be just slightly bigger than your stride. So the most important thing here is how you're going to approach this activity. If you're going to start thinking about it like an exercise, this probably isn't going to work brilliantly for you. What you really want to do is look at it as a bit of exploration and a bit of play, learning to get to bounce around like you did when you were a child. And to get started, we're just going to do that process we did to make the circles and just take those big strides. To begin with, that's all I want you to do. Keep doing those strides until you start getting comfortable with it, and over time you can just add a little bit of a bounce into your steps. Okay, you don't have to be clear in the air, but you just want a bit of spring in your ankles and your foot as you make those. Once you've got comfortable with that bit of spring, you can start to play with how you're moving around it. So far I've been pretty straightforward, just doing those strides as is. You can then start to play with direction and things and the way you're facing. So maybe I could do a stride like so, and go to there. You can start decreasing the time between your steps. Maybe I can go backwards and then forwards, again backwards, sideways. I just want you to really get the hang of this movement, doing those strides with that little bit of a spring in your step. Once you've got really comfortable with this, what you can start to do is just increase that spring, so you're just having that tiny little bit of a hop. So just before your front foot reaches the ground, your back foot leaves off, and you're almost just doing this motion here. So nothing big, but just that tiny little step. And again, once you've got that down, you're gonna again go through that playful exploration on these three targets with that little hop, and that little hop's going to add quite a lot to how you can play around with it, and just springiness and aliveness to your exploration here. Again, thinking about directions, looking which way you're going. Once you've got comfortable with that hopping practice, because we made these circles nice and big, so what you can start to do is increase those little bits of hop, increase the length of your steps, and get from, instead of going from the closer sides of the circles, you can start aiming for the far sides. So you're going to end up covering some slightly bigger distances with those hops. Again, really you're just taking some big strides and adding a little bit of air time. Just do that last moment of your stride and start to play. Hopefully hopefully you'll start to feel a bit comfortable turning around and spinning as you're doing this process, and you'll just build up that confidence as you go. And once you've got to that point, you can then start to play with how you're doing that jump. So far, everything has been that 1 foot to 1 foot alternating foots. So once you've done that, you can then start to play with 2 feet and 2 feet to 1 feet, 1 foot to 2 feet, and what's a classic hop of where you're going, staying on that same leg. Again, you've got 2 feet to 1 foot, 2 feet to 1 foot. That hop jumping on the same leg, going 1 foot to 2 feet, 1 foot to 2 feet, and finally that 2 feet to 2 feet. Practice those with these small little distances. Once you've got the hang of it, you can then play around and just have some fun, see what happens. And because you've been playing and exploring, you've just been building up your physical capacity to this without actually facing anything that's scary, so that confidence will have just built up subconsciously underneath. And once you've got the knack of this, and if you want to progress on from this point, you can go to the part 1 of this where I talk about making your first jump to a target that's going to be a little bit above the ground. Again, if you want any extra help with this, whether you've got any physical limitations or there's still some mental barrier blocking you from trying this activity, go in that description, click on the link. You can have a call for an hour where we talk through things one-to-one, and see if we can get you feeling comfortable with this process.